Alright, so let's try to compile this test shader. Maybe add the first shader in the tutorial. I'm just writing down the folder where I started this project, because my notes say delete plain text shader files. It's like 1, like the most important step. 2, source SDK TF2 shader compiles source 1 TF2 SDK. And we could maybe check, there's enough time today, if we can take that VPC file, VPC to older 2013, and it's folder source / material system. I really enjoy sometimes copying text by hand. But it gives the brain like more to think about while you're copying. While you're like copy paste buffers for writing and reading are working. Interesting part of the brain like activates. Alright, so we know it's test shader PS20 column 237 is where our error is. So let's just go to 37. How should we open this? I want to just declone. I don't think I hit the right button. Damn it. Oh, it still works though. Alright. Failed test shader PS. So let's fix the pixel shader first. I don't think the vertex shader has anything in it. And why doesn't it exist? There should be a test shader 2.b. Why is it called B? Uh-oh. We have some stupid problem. This is why I opened a notepad and screwed myself. Okay. It doesn't say anywhere B. Huh. Interesting. Test shader B. Screen space. Alright, but there's still a syntax error in this PS shader. So let's get rid of the syntax error first, then we'll just clone it to make it a B. Where I'm still kind of want to read. Yeah, there was a BR right here. What the fuck? The repository to see if I need more includes in the pixel shader. So let's first run this again, since we can. It can cache using CRC32 and the older one. It just takes so fast. Yeah, it just recompiles them. Alright, so now it's 12.6. There's another BR here. Okay. So those were easy to fix. So what this does is it samples the texture, it grays it out, and it makes it a gray. And basically, I believe it tries to use the dot product and there's some sort of dot product effect. Alright, let's build this again. I should be looking at the include folder, see if it's dumping the includes. Let's go look at that. And then we'll replicate this shader and see if we need the VS-based shader including this one. I believe we kind of do. Okay, so in include folder, here's our includes that go into the C++ file that kind of combines our actually made a test shader PS2 Inc. Shader load, C shader load. Created this static index and this dynamic index. Guessing this is for static models, this is for stuff that can animate, but static can animate too, as long as it's default animation. Alright, so 12, still give us an error, really? Maybe recompile it again. Let's just try to recompile it again. Trying not to do too many things at once right now. Alright, this looks clean. Oops, I missed. That's one warning. Test shader 2B. 0 seconds. Building 2B. So efficacy warning dot implicit truncation of vector type. Okay. So I guess it did it. Does it have test shader PS20 not inc not B? Does it generate two of them? No, it just generates B. That's interesting. It just auto does that. This is where I'm really... Yeah, so it made a shader 2B to VCX. Huh. It called it B. Alright, so you need to do one more mod. Do we have this project loaded? I believe not. It's the other project. It's the Momentum project. This is the older project. So we don't have it loaded. It's loaded up. I want it to be the fix in Notepad++, but let's do it in Visual Studio. There was some shader debugger way of doing this. Damn it. I should have learned that yesterday. Should have went down that rabbit hole. So this is 29. It would take a little while for me to recode the thing I coded over there, the custom game menu, because that helps test things. Like on lit generic. This is the I am GUI one, which is kind of cool. If I clone this again, I'm GUI would be very nice for vGUI screens to create. It would be an immediate GUI. It wouldn't be something like RMI GUI, but yeah, it would need some sort of vGUI screen optimization. Because the way it does it now is really stupid. But there is some good things about it, like 16 outputs. But I have everything like scattered across like 8 projects, which is kind of stupid. But at the same time, it's kind of good. I break one thing in one project, and all the other ones still work. All right, so let's. Was this based on the TF2? Yeah, I think this compiled it for TF2. Damn it. How do we set the shader compiler for our shaders HL2 and P? Guess we would need to, SDD shaders. Common tools 10. Oh, we're on the wrong project here. That makes sense. Alright, so game shaders, HL2 and P and game shaders, TF. Okay, how does this differ? SDK shaders. Yeah, because this is set for TF. So let's make another batch file. I believe we would have to name this HL2MP, and we won't overwrite anything. Let's name it that, whatever. Then change this to mod HL2MP. Then change this crap. Generic shader base. Oh man. Okay. So let's just change the project. Let's just add a project. Thingamabobber. So this, okay, it has a project. Files. Folder file. Just do a file. It's just like such a mess. We don't really need to do this, but staying organized will help a lot in the long run. And it's really easy to screw this up. Now, do this. Can we add a folder and add the shit to it? Test shader .cpp. See if this works. It's the wrong prompt probably. Who cares? Let's just spawn it. When we view properties window, it like helps like when you see what path you're in. And you can go to like the source folder. Or source folder. Sarc folder. Okay, create all projects. Generate it. Let's close down this expanded list. Later, maybe. Yeah, I'm GUI is here. This is cool. Strat source, I think, has GUI also inside of it. We will need to put more stuff in client, I think. Like I could try to just drop the main menu in there. I don't even know how I would override the Half-Life 2 main menu. I could get to the TF2 one, but that means I have to go and create the shader for TF2. Alright, server. Oh yeah, it's the shader for Half-Life. Alright, source files. Okay, test shader. It worked. It's here. This is going to be B for one of them. I see that the PS one is complaining. Yeah, so this will be B. The next one we could try to implement is either PBR or the one on the wiki. I need to actually keep jotting down this. The list is something like Skydome, Parallax, mapping. Let's put test shader. There's also a brick shader that I made. Brick wall. Seashell. Oh yeah, PBR. A few other ones on there. I need to keep catching those ones that they added. Alright, so that does that. See if this compiles. I did use kind of this hack here, the screen space. I don't know if this setting the screen space constant. Yes, we got a bunch of crap. I fucked it all up. It doesn't work. Alright, why doesn't this work? I believe because it has to be denoted B. That might fix things. Once it compiled it as a B. I don't think there's much difference in the, like the 2.0 is compatible with B. Okay, so we got the DLL. Cool. Now, this was a 64-bit build. Interesting, okay. So we can hijack this. How would we test this crap? Well, I'm going to dump it into my other project. Rename the bin folder. Oh, GUI surface material, but we can't set anything because the shader requires a texture. Who knows? We'll just go look at the wiki, it's about time. Alright, and we just have to hope that the client on this compiles. I believe it does. Okay, let's just rename this to bin2. This will usually be your HL2 and P. Mod folder, bin. The trash can folder, the bin. Oh, this is like the main folder. Alright, let's put in, I'm guessing we need to have an x64 folder. Then let's copy this crap. And while we copy this, we kind of need the client and the server. Looks like it's an incremental build. Let's copy both PV shader. I don't know if the screen space on that shader is right, but whatever. We just need to figure out a way to test this as fast as possible. So we got the client. Server DLL, it should be already compiled, but who knows? Yeah, it's already, there's no real changes. Server on this wasn't even modified that much. And my computer is like tired from all the crap I did yesterday. I need to reboot. Alright, so these are 64-bit binaries. Which was one of the things I was trying to avoid doing it the other way. Which kind of makes me mad in a certain way. It's like I want to be able to compile it for that older version for a lot of reasons. And I don't know if I even have those binaries. It's like, what am I supposed to do? Like use the leak code to like figure it out? It's gonna be like a nightmare. Maybe it won't be so bad, but whatever. Okay. It's nice to copy the PDB file. I don't know where it looks for it, but it'll like help it debugging potentially, because it loads the symbols. That's the symbols file. I don't know what the server.lib thing is, or the server ILK, or the EXP, I believe, is the exports file. It's got a bunch of like addresses. Okay. Okay. What will we do next? Figure out how to run this thing right out of here. Because, let's see what this is set to. Shit's not even gonna work. I remember this shit breaking. Whenever I touched it, I did something to the TF2. Alright, so it's set to run through this mod folder. Now here's the thing I didn't do yet. I didn't compile, I didn't move the shaders over into the shader folder. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to try this without it. But I'm going to go look and peek into the other folder, see if it's there already. If the shader compiler automatically did it. If it copied the VCS files into shader.fxc. No. What a piece of garbage. Maybe it didn't work. Let's go check that out. This is like so exciting. A first-person shooter action here. Going into the source folder to find material system, the SDD shader. Okay. But I could look at the momentum strat source code to see how they implemented IMGUI. Yeah, it was like all these side projects. Okay, let's look into shaders. Let's see. Test shader is here. And it's 1 kilobyte. Huh. I wonder what's inside of it. Alright, so I do have a VMT file already present. I mean, already created. I don't say present in programming, we say open binary are created. Okay. Let's open this folder and do this like magical browsing faster technique. My Explorer is just dead. If I untask Explorer and restart it, I should get more performance. Alright, so inside of materials, I have a file called test shader. This file contains the words test shader with the simplest kind of form. The reason I did it like this, because it's like the closest link. Alright, this shouldn't work because I literally don't have test shader yet in my test shader folder, but I already have the Duo game shader. Yeah, I have the PBB shader, which I didn't compile with this version. I mean, PBR, projected bloom roll effect, whatever PBR stands for. Has something to do with like having 4 textures and being designed complex. Alright, so let's set this directory as a game directory for running as the debug for client instead of the K folder, because we have the shader file here, and it will run. Does it have allow debug? I don't know. I don't think it does. It's window dev. It doesn't have allow debug. Sometimes you gotta add allow debug to the end of this. Sorry, there's a lot of parameters here like .dev and different height and window. But yeah, I kind of need those. So let's see. We run this. It generates a lot of lag to the computer. We go to our friendly shader site. We don't open MSN because that's just annoying. It just tells us propaganda of how it's an apocalypse. Okay. Just make sure that this like doesn't crash for like any random reason. I don't think it should. Yeah, we don't have our menu, but whatever. Async blocking button rollover. Alright. It's something like vGUI screen material. Alright, I'm not going to try to guess it. I'm just going to read it off the wiki. Shader authoring. Please visit shader authoring. Alright. Microsoft Edge is actually run on Chrome, which runs Vulkan, which supports like WebGL shaders, and there's 2 different things. Damn it, I forgot all the WebGL stuff. But Yeah, so WebGL2 and WebGL1, it's like ES3 and ES2 models of shaders. Yeah, they say to do this, but they didn't really have to or something. I think this is more for the older style. Which is annoying, but this is more, I think, for the 32-bit style. So there's like 3 styles to do in this really. And 2 of the styles I couldn't get to work yet. Okay, creating a batch file to build shaders. We wanted to start authoring our shaders. So you go to this link, there will be a bunch of shit, and it's really hard not to start reading all of it. Let's do authoring our first shader. I think we need to do authoring our first shader. On this one, I like it how it has these. The third shader does not have a complete tutorial. Oh yeah, there's the sky shader, which I think is Skydom. Yeah, I told myself not to read this. Infected shader, that's cool. I think infected shader, you could have that cutting effect. Oh yeah, the Pyro Vision shader. I think that's part of the tutorial or some tutorial. And there's like the paint blob. Some of these you could use like right away. I was actually considering doing that. I was really good at like just taking the base shaders and just using the fawn and just making it look crazy. Whatever. The annoying part about Source is like the different shader, the different settings will give you different results. Alright, so here they describe a really basic shader. It's even more basic than what I have. Put this file and then R-Screen Overlay. So we're going to type in R-Screen Overlay Test Shader. It didn't work. Right? Alright, let's try R-Screen Overlay. I had another file in that folder. I could just make another file. That'll point to that person thing. Example, material. Yeah, this is the example mod shader. What would happen if I did this one? I didn't want to do it like this. Okay, didn't work. Doesn't do anything. Do we need SV cheeks to be on? I don't think so, but whatever. I just automatically just turn SV cheeks on every time. It's like 99% of the stuff you gotta do in dev is just put the cheeks on. Yeah, so we have unloop generic right here. It's just that person guy. So that would be GUI unloop generic, which is like 99% of your panel stuff. Damn it, it doesn't work. Either I'm doing something wrong. Let's see if I was in game. I don't know if this engine will crash. Because it might not have a DM start info player thing. Damn it. It will crash. Yeah, those are like characters. One of these was the PBR shader. Alright, that works. But you have to be in-game though. What the fuck? Oh, so the example model shader does work? What the fuck? And it's coloring? I think it's based on the level. But I was right about the SD cheats part. So the test shader does do something. But we need the red shader in order to figure it out. It's different. Or at least a few other ones. Let's just type in test. Okay, test. Now work. And I think this crashes because of IMGUI. So crap. Also test battleground shader. Alright, let's see. How should we do this? My shader. Test shader. I don't know if that's checkbox, yes. My shader. Hopefully these cap locks, and then they name it like fucking different things. Damn it. Source files. Are we in the right project? The bad thing about opening a bunch of source projects. You don't know which one you're in. Just like editing, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, wrong file. Here's my shader. And it will be a different files or something. Actually, I would like to change the text files. I would like this thing to call HL2 shaders. Kind of differentiate. Then we have to go and like, it would be good to add them to the project. I don't understand why they didn't. Like, you can add them to the project as long as they're not in like the source file. Because like text files were causing me some kind of issues. Like, it would try to compile them or like IntelliSense them, like just do weird stuff to them and mess up. It was annoying. It's like, why can't I have text files in my project with notes? And I was working on the RTS engine. Damn it. See if this will just take it. But it might do a stupid thing. We'll figure that out. We could always just get rid of that. Okay. I got updated. Good. Just open them here and rename them that way. They were called SDK shaders. Underscore DX9 shader model dot text. All right. Lag. Sometimes it's bad to change these names. It's already got all these stupid names. Like there's also SDD shit. DirectX 10. Oh, DirectX 10. People like are like coding DirectX 12 and 11 nowadays. And I'm stuck thinking about DirectX 6. Cool. Why? It's like obsessive about making source work for the iPhone 1. Alright, so to this file, we're going to add 2 more things. I don't know if we're going to add to that file. It does sort of try to explain how to do the backdrop, whatever you call it. For shitty graphics cards, shit doesn't show up in wireframe. Or at least make it show up in wireframe so just something shows up. So it'll be called this, MyPixel Shader XC. So that'll build the 20 file. Then there's going to be a VS. Let's define the pixel shader. Or the file flow. Damn it. Can't copy paste. Newer browsers suck. This one's going to be called My Material. My shader, MySpace. I don't want to say that, but yeah. So this one and the pixel shader, we have common FXC. So I wonder if we set a texture for the other one. It's sampling from something. It's just like gray. All right, this one should turn out just to be red because we could see here float 4. Which is a vec4 GLSL, which is red, because the first color is red, R, G, B. The G stands for green, and the B stands for blue, and A stands for alpha. We could actually mess around with the alpha, I don't know. But and then there's a text coordinate being passed in as the input. So the pixel shader is actually called the fragment shader, and most of the graphics APIs, except for DirectX is special, Metal is special, OpenGL is not special, but it's the most commonly used. So how is it not special? I don't know. I need to look at one of those graphs, like. This stupid video. I need to make one of those stupid videos where it's like, this is the amount of years in like the graphics APIs, and broken, and DirectX being broken up. So this is PS2X FXC. This is a different naming convention. Interesting. PS20. Why is it called PS20 here? PS20 B.Inc. too. The way they do this one is like so much different than kind of mine. And it's just funny because it's very funny because the other one is like the AI generated and it compiles it and it seems to work. Like all these little sub details. So which one did we input? We just copy pasted this. Did we do the file yet? Let's see. I don't think we did the file. So is this just a pixel shader? There's no vertex shader? So you don't have to have both? Like, how does what does the vertex shader do? It just uses base VS shader or what? Yeah, there's no my shader thing. I'm trying to follow this as slow as possible because kind of. I just have to blame all the slowness on my Explorer.exe after 2 days of like trying to destroy this. That's the problem with the Zion GUI setup, is that it crashes the material system for whatever reason. Am I ever going to figure that out? I could. Material queue as I really could. It has to do something with shut down missing list, count for binding and caching. Yeah, it has something to do with the shaders being down. Oh, stupid. Alright, so we pasted this in. Let's regenerate the project. It looks like it only does this. Because my test shader also has a vertex shader, which you could like mess around with the camera stuff. The nice thing about a vertex shader, first of all, being able to change the position of things. No, it's actually the fact that you could do fragment shader stuff inside the vertex shader and gain more performance. That's especially important with these like shitty DirectX line shaders or something. And other stuff. It's like if you wanted to make PBR more performant, you try to move calculations into the vertex shader. So it has shader fallback. Oh, that's what it's called, fallback. It's not DirectX. So here you can add like, it's like, how am I supposed to compile that 1.0 shader or 1.1? All right. Is this all we need to do? We'll compile project. We need to compile the shaders first though. Let's just see if this part got ready. Should take a second to compile the shaders. While that's compiling that, let's attempt to compile shaders. So this is 7 files copied, and it copied it to TF2. Oh, we didn't say build. I need to do this. Build HL2 np_mod_shaders.bat. All right, this will move it to game mod HLMPP source, which is the folder I have. Yeah, it included my shader. Wow, that was fast. I was gonna like do a whole section of this video or stream or something about how slow my computer is. So that's always like a good programming analogy of life. So how slow your computer is. And just complain like repetitively and blame other people. I forget what the thing is called. It's one of the characters in the game where he's like an alcoholic, and so he's like figuring out reasons why he needs to blame people for his own problems. It's like good. Really good. All right, so my pixel shader did get copied to here. Nice. Now notice it's not inside here. We didn't make a material for it yet, too. So let's make material. Or should we check if it's inside folders? Check inside folders. Should I waste more time? I just won't remember to go back to materials. I'll just get too excited and just start messing with it. Alright, so it's not here. The example shader is here. The test shader is not here, and my pixel shader is not here. Okay. We still got a copy over the DLL though. Let's get to create the material first. It's good to do like little things really slowly. Like I need to finish the HTML tutorial and all this. But the problem is that I really want the old school way of this working to work. But I don't think shader compile.exe inside of sdkeys multiplayer bin folder it works. Maybe the one inside of single player works. Like I've noticed that when you compile for Mac, sdkeys 2013, like I don't know, 10 years back or like 8 years back or 5 or something, you had to like take stuff out of the SP folder, put it into the MP folder. This means like you're taking from the single player source SDK, putting it into the multiplayer, because it's just like they had duplicate two things in like the same folders. So you just take it from the other one, put it there, and it just works. You just kind of had to like use common sense computer hackery to figure it out, and like they didn't really tell you that. Oh, okay. You know that after a long time, a person has any kind of common sense, the person doesn't. It's like, why doesn't it work? This sucks. It's like, yeah. Welcome to like programming land. No common sense hackery, you die. I guess you can make something up. Okay, let's try my shader. So this should show up red. All this just to like show up the red screen. Source SDK. Hope I feel proud of myself after this. Alright, so we did this. We didn't copy the DLL yet. Let's see how our shader project looks like. It has the text files now. It's nice. It just kind of adds shaders here. I wouldn't say dynamically. Dynamically, in my perspective, is the shader editor. Alright, enough being arrogant and stupid. Whatever. Let's just compile this. Yeah, so cannot include the pixel shader to blah. Doesn't exist. Okay. My fix for this is comment it out. So it has B here, and it has non-B here. Such nonsense. Alright, let's just go look at the include files real quick. If they look like exactly the same, I'm not going to trip over it and just comment that out. Okay. What I'm going to do, they're trying to demonstrate that if you have really shitty old hardware and you somehow don't support OpenGL 1.5 or whatever it was, 2.0. God, what was that version of OpenGL? Yeah, so OpenGL static, or whatever you call it, proprietary, which is basically kind of the equivalent of Pixel Shader 1.1 to 1.2, like that walkover, where like you got frame buffers all of a sudden. Alright, so this looks very, very stupid and naive. Alright, let's look at another PS 2.0 non-B link file. See how it looks like. And I think all I need to do is remove the B's. So let's app chooser 360 movie. That's a bad one because that's for the PS360. I was going to say PlayStation 360. Yeah, this doesn't exist. we know what we're talking about. The game console is a different hardware. So let's see, cloud. See, we have this 1.1 here. Cloak. Cloak has B and non-B. Let's take a cloak, whatever. It'll tip us off a little bit, but then we'll close it and look at something else. So generally it's just get index, set fog types. So this one has something to do with fogs and lights and shit, and just get index. So basically, we needed to open the other one and compare it. I could run a compare on it. I think I installed the plugin and it did something really weird to my Notepad++. Like the new Notepad++ crap is just crap. So we need cloak PSD. One fast way to compare it is just to go to see what the last line number is. 162, 163. So yeah, B is a little none lights. This can actually tell you what the real difference is. Light warp texture, set light warp texture. This doesn't have a light warp texture, does it? No, it does. Alright. What is this? I'll try to load another example and then I'll just try to finish that part. Okay, why? Alright, plugins, compare. Okay, WinMerge is another way of doing this, multiple files. So there is a bunch of this crap that's extra. Set convert to sRGB. There's no light warp texture thing. Dynamic. The index thing is pretty much same. Yeah, and just the name. They just added this convert to sRGB thing. Light warp texture is in both of them. Yeah, because it's convert to sRGB. I need to look up what that actually means. Alright, so just take this file, save as. It might be a programmatic way of accomplishing this through the automatic thinger, because let's say the shader editor was doing this automatically, I would have to account for this stupidity. Now here it's being highlighted green. Ignore that because well, it's stupid because I don't know, it reads the file wrong because it is the thing, because it's parsing it as a shader, not as a C++ file. What the fuck? Alright, it's not found. Cool. Let's just run this. Alright, so generated the DLL. I saved this file into that file and I renamed and I removed all the bees in it. Not the flying bees or the flies, the letter character B of the back of 20. In order to compensate the compiler's happiness. Because it rolls back, it falls back, I mean, to this version of it. And that include file has the code for the indexing of how that particular shader model expects it. And it's hard to explain because they do the same thing in this instance. So it just like needs it for the way they wanted it to put it. Okay, so this copy shader DLL. We didn't copy the V CS files and the FXC folder and the shaders folder in the source mod directory. So what gives? I don't know, whatever. And so we put it into our main bin x64 the mod folder. Make really awkward faces while we do it. And then I guess we could run the debugger for fun. Just to see why I'm GUI in this project is a piece of garbage. It works. I've made it work like on the, what is it called, the splash page? The server join page. The one where you load it and they tell you to pay money. Alright, so we have to be inside a server, which is like annoying. So like my shader, or what? SV cheats 1. Which is kind of stupid because you can display the shader on here, but they don't want you to because like I guess it's not cached yet to run. I don't know, whatever. It is cached because you could have 3D models in there, but you can't have. Well, I don't know about brushes. If you could load a world, you can load background map multiplayer. I mean, I would want to say you can just do anything you want. Oh fuck. That's broken. Now that is the BBR. What the fuck? What the fuck is this? I have to go and hammer and check that out. Okay. Why is the mic not working? All right. See if this fixes anything. I copied my shader over. I don't even know what it's called. Oh, it is red. It works. Oh my god. So the other shader doesn't work. We'll find out when a BMT exists, but no VCS file looks whitish gray, like my hair, my face. Okay. It's like raw death. Sorry. Typing. All right, let's copy the other one over and see what that generates. Set it into existence, auto-generated. So I copied over my pixel, but I didn't copy test shader. Oh, we should have tested that just to see the color. I put it. Let's just test that really quick. I put it. Oh, what the hell? Isn't this the same folder? It looks like it. Yeah, these two are the same folder open. Cool. I'm crazy. I've got problems. That's okay. Yeah, so I'll just demonstrate demolishing my brain. For learning or something. I can put this down. Fuck. I guess my desk will need like cleaning straighter later. Damn it. How does this work? I should have a different dryer here, not this one. Fucking shit. Need those washer dryers for that vodka money. Okay. Our screen overlay. Next, that's the thing I was making. I was making a dryer for the washer dryer mission, and we like the drum plumber. All right, so that works, right? Binding on cache material, artificial incrementing recount. Okay, that's good. And then we can do test shader, and we should get that gray, but because there's a T file. But on the other map, it's like that. This gray is actually the UI telling us we're in like main menu after hitting semicolon, showing up this. The way that works was like different before. It used to like bug and do weird shit. I don't know. Okay. Why can't I see anything? Oh my goodness. It's always good to stand up a gas tank and shoot it. It works, you know, like gas tank jump. This guy needs a better texture or like more high definition. This is 256 times 256 and it ended up being not so great. He looks a little better with the other texture. Then the other guy didn't show up over there, or some other Half-Life 2 thing that's like excluded, but it looks like it's included in Hammer because of the way it's misconfigured. This is a snow cart, and the physics is broken because I need to fix it. So it can't be like upright. Like that happens, you know, it's like, okay, I know how to debug it inside game. Oh, that could be the problem. Why is the V-Collide that? Yeah, it's not good. Oh, you can actually go through it like this. It's like non-convex or something. What if you were like standing inside of it? Ow. Alright. Oh, I miss this type of stupidity, but all, but whatever. Let's copy now my test shader that I've been trying to get to work for about 3 days now. It's a magical shader. I know it'll change source forever. And we have in here the PBR shader. So we could technically, I don't know if we could like recycle VCS files, but that's the other thing I want to figure out later. Maybe not today, I'm not sure. Like if you could just take VCS files, throw them into another folder, as long as everything matches. Meaning the input and vertex buffer parameters. I wonder if it'll just work. That's like a guess. What other cool maps do we have? What's the fractal map? Oh, this is a cool map. But I don't know if we have the thinger in it. It might not work. It might crash us out. La, 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 la. Less than 10% battery left. Particles are missing. Fire particle. Fast. Yeah, it doesn't have a player start thinger. This version crashes. I made the other version where it's like, it doesn't care if there's no player start, just throw the player in the center. There is a way to detect if player is inside the map. You could do traces, but you would have to do traces like almost like a sphere. And you could still spawn like in between walls somewhere. Are the screen overlay test shader? Well, it's still light. That's the problem. It's like, fuck. Did we copy it? No, what the fuck? I did copy it. Garbage, damn it. The only thing I can think of is there's no B. Because it shouldn't be pure white. That's in here. That's the thing. Shaders you have to test visually. There's no. Is there a way to debug them? This is the thing I'm worried about. Would this work? Okay, no. Stupid screen space register thing. How does this do it in the red shader? Not shader. Doesn't even do it. But this is for the vertex, right? It is for both, but the vertex, I believe, will use it. So we look inside the vertex shader. Why is my shader not a part of this list? I need to add that. Okay, so shader source. What the hell? How are those in there? Shader source. That's weird. Generic shader example map base. Whatever. So this is the fragment. It's register 0, doesn't do shit with it. It's just spit out a color, but there's no texture. So let's just tell it to be some other color. Let's do this. Float for RGB green blue will be equal to a float for we won't need this for now. We'll extra comment out all the shit that was like commented out already. So float for 0.0 comma, other way around, comma 1.0, 1.0, comma 1.0, and then just return green and blue together. And all right, test shader vertex, what does this do? Takes some shit in, gets the position, does the sign of the input position, whatever that means. Takes the position of x, y, this is a 2D coordinate, and then convert those 2D coordinates into text coordinates. Huh? And the position is equal to the 2D coordinates of whatever the past tense position was. I have to modify this one. I'm like uncertain about this, but whatever. Let's look at the vertex shader for screen space. It's got more parameters, but here's the projection matrix. It calculates by multiplying the position with the model view projection matrix, which is a pre-computed CPU value. Who did you come from? Where does this variable come from? It's probably inside of BS common data. The position is the input, a color. And projection-based texture coordinates, zero texture coordinate, and bloom texture coordinates, and some color being passed in as another texture coordinate. And then just the input gets passed to the output for the vertex attributes of the two shaders. Screen space effect vertex shader. All right, looks like this is super generalized, but whatever. Let's recompile this. And then we'll try to do shader number 3. But one of them working already is amazing. Kind of. It takes a lot of time. Okay, it noticed that pixel shader, test shader was modified. And the ink file shouldn't have changed. Okay, that's 4:38 p.m. This is 5:58 p.m. Let's replace this. You shouldn't need to compile the shader DLL, it's the same. Let's just run it and just see if we get non-white and non-red output. We're in the wrong project, damn it. Oops. Nope. Something is wrong with the shader. Wonder what it is. Yeah, 'cause it should be returning this color. look at the other one. I want to see something real quick. What the fuck? It's fucking annoying. Like, how can the other stupid fragment shader that's even stupider work? This one not? Alright. And I don't understand why those are in the project. It's got to refresh. What it does is it picks it up when you regenerate it. When you recreate all the projects, it regenerates. It auto-magically picks up the my shaders. So it's not my my pixel shader too. Okay. So let's look at its source code. Yeah, so it has this comment in here. This one doesn't have a comment. It has a PS input of text coordinate. This uses sample registry 0. It's kind of wrong. Input I, PSI. How are we supposed to use this stupid SI? PS input. Well, I could look at the code from other shaders, which doesn't matter. Alright, let's just do this. I'm gonna erase this. I'm just gonna straight up copy the header over. Because I believe the header for source SDK, this comment PS FXC, sets up the shit being passed in. So what we added is include comment px.h, struct ps input. The other change we have to do is to main, and it will be this. It will be this ps input I, the structure, instead of float 2. Okay, so we need to recompile the shader again. And that's the funny part, is does the screen overlay test both the fragment and the pixel shader? Or does it just lie to us somehow? It was funny, I saw the person somehow like on the screen. The graphics card is being funky. Okay, warnings 1. Warning, implicit truncation of vector type. Common. Alright, so that's good. It saw that we put common into test shader. Will that change any kind of index thing? I don't think so. We could double check though. Let's open this. Yeah, I don't think it changed this file at all. Let's copy it over again. Stupid for Cassian. Who cares? Every time I watch Potassium, I feel like I've become 50 times dumber. And that's like an understatement. If I like eat hot Cheetos all day, I feel like I've exponentially got dumber enough not to watch it. Alright, so my feet are numb because I'm just late. That's because I ate ice cream. Maybe that helps. Fuck. Oh, why did I turn third person on? Nope, didn't work. It's a garbage, die. Did I copy the file? I think I did. Yeah, I did copy it. Also, hate for this. I guess try to add the other shader. This test shader is garbage, generated by AI. So that one works. It would be like modifying my material shader. But the thing is, it's like, how do I... Will shader tutorial 2 show me how to make a vertex shader? Because this pixel shader doesn't work. And why doesn't it work? Alright, let's take a look real quick at example model vertex shader and pixel shader. So this one has position, blend weights, blend indices. This is for models and stuff. I mean, skeletal animation, normal map, texture, some lighting bullshit, but who cares about that? The world position, the projection position, sort of, I wonder what that means. But you could kind of tell by the math. Yeah, so I should be able to like take this without passing all the light and the bone information. Yeah, because this does use this register shader specific constant thing. Base text coordinates transform. Gets to con. That's some stupid static shit. I mean, constants. There could be only 4 lights. And this is the pixel shader. So it's common flashlight, common shader constants map. It doesn't have that common file, but this common flashlight will include that common file, I believe. It uses like 6 registers, plus whatever registers these are, so maybe like 10. So it's like 10 parameters. Does the flashlight stuff, does the non-flashlight stuff, multiplies the lighting with the color, creates the fog, provides depth to the alpha or something stupid if it needs to, and calculates the final color. Whatever. Pretty simple shader. So you can take this and really implement like an outline 3D model shader or something. Check out this pixel shader. This one's pretty simple though. The frame buffer, oh no, this is not that simple. This you're sampling what's on the screen using the texture coordinates of the UV of the screen, then doing some stupid fog math and HDR shit and blur. Oh, it's called blur, so obviously blur. So that's the blur texture. Alright, none of these are easy. This one's it's a little easier. You're just sampling the texture, setting the alpha to 1, and that's it. This is like the simplest, but you're probably I was going to say you're probably using a frame buffer, but it's not. Maybe it is. Maybe it's passing this through thing with the blue mad. But really I was more interested in the vertex ones than the PS ones. Screen space is a vertex shader. So this is what it should do by default. Alright, let's just take this shit. How do I uncomment everything? Can't do it in here. So test shader VS20. The way it's doing this, what it's doing here is like, I would need to ask the AI, like, how does this look like a GLSL? Like, the only thing I could tell is that it's a 2D, and I forget what sign means, but I believe it means flip the sign, so it just like flips like a, like if the quad was like this, it would be like this. That's the only thing I could, something, and it divides it by texture coordinate by 2. That's just some weird, stupid thing. Alright. Test shader. Third to the 29. Vertex shader 20. Control Shift Q. Control K. Single line comment. Toggle single line comment. Alright. Single line comment. There we go. Mode. I want to lie and say it's faster in Notepad++, but I'm not lying. But there is a way to do it where, alright, so I just copy pasted the screen space effect vertex shader right into the test shader, vertex shader 2.0 FXC, to see how its fragment shader would look like now. Like, the my shader, I think it's taking the screen space effect shader for the vertex shader, because look, the source code in my shader, we see screen space effect, declare dynamic vertex shader, set dynamic vertex shader. Yeah, so he does it like this. So he's recycling the other shader right here. 2 times dynamic state and shadow state. So I'm just kind of getting into the nitty, easy stuff of source shader editing. And this test shader, we're setting our vertex shader, dynamic shader, only to test shader. And our test shader is doing garbage? I believe so. And the other thing is going to be, how do I set up like the cameras, the other vertex arrays, and all that stuff. First, it'd be like set up a few uniforms, change them, make them change the color, test it out, then start doing like drawing quads and cubes, slowly moving up the ladder of sanity. All right, we need to recompile. Just with the test shader, the finger is not working. And test shader should be called test shader, right? Yeah, it's called test shader right here. Begin VS shader. What about my shader? Is it just begin shader? Oh, so that's a different macro. altogether, because test shader is defined as a blah PS shader only. So what would happen if I did this? How do you test a vertex only shader? So I've translated some TOSL shaders from WebGL into HLSL. And the next thing is translating them into from HLSL to more of the source style. And we'll see if this, what I just did works. Because we need to go check. Okay, begin shader. Okay, that matches. And at the end here, it should be end shader, right? Okay, I don't know why there's a semicolon. It shouldn't really be there. But the stupid AI did like a lot of stupid stuff. But a lot of the stupid stuff it does like helps you learn by fixing it. It's kind of funny that way. Alright, let's see. First we need to compile. Later we'll figure out what happens if we put the vertex back to where it was. Should we compile a file? Okay. I don't need to run this. This is the older. Look at what time it is. Okay, build up shaders again. I should open the shader folder. It might generate a new include file. Huh. Let's open this folder to the include file. What does it say? Alright, so it should be fine because it's the same exact shader being replicated. We took the screen space shader and put it into the test shader. Later we could try to do what the test shader was trying to do, but it was just doing like rotate the quad and divide it by 2. You should just like downsize the thing here. Why does this have so many include files? Oh, sorry. It's like all the shaders. Okay, this 220618. This was modified. But we don't need to do anything because it's already going to pick it up. It's the pixel shader that we had the tissue issue. The duality. Alright, let's not worry about this. But it's good to be on top of these idiot problems. Okay, did this get copied? Test shader 18. This should be new, right? The fragment shader or the PS shader should be old. It's okay. The VS shader is new. I just copied both of them, just deliberately just to piss off the file system. Did this finish? Okay. We still need to compile the DLL though, because things have changed with the headers of the shaders, with the shader descriptors. There's different ways of calling that thing. The way the uniforms and the vortex array buffers are arranged. Yeah. This is an OpenGL, it's like locations, the Vulkans, like descriptors, and Mel with some other crap. Alright, compile. And shaders. So So game shader generic is built. This thing plus this thing equals do I have two of these folders open? Yeah. All right, so built 621. Good, it's 622. I'd usually like to be a second off. But today is just kind of whatever. Okay. It's not debug, just run this visually. So we can test shader, but then we need to do another test. I mean, we need to do the second tutorial shader. S3 sheets, parse, overlay, line material, it works, test shader, it doesn't work, the fragment's not right, okay. It's just annoying that test shader does not work. Very annoying. Like, why not? An example model shader works. No.
I'll check it later. They do use a trick to do random form. Just take out this texture. There's no relations. doing a vertex shader. I was supposed to add parameters like time so we can pass it into some sign. don't have a new shader. You will need to give it to shader already. Let's compile it, give it a compile to it, check it. It's been an okay setup. At least it's compiling the shaders and I get to learn slightly about. Just fix the improved file first. It's starting to get messy. I think I should use the computer on this. God. Like. Little half step. Trial. What does that mean? Garbage. Why can't I delete that? It's bad. Delete that. Delete open file. The system locks it or something on purpose. It doesn't want me to. It's for Visual Studio or something. Or the compiler itself. Name it, allows you to do this. Pretty easily scripted that. Not a hard sit. Put this fuck up. absolutely. Test shader. Why is test shader different? Oh, we never recompiled the project, that's why. That's it. Add new shader, you can see that there. That's annoying, but what if you made like 100 shader templates automatically and then just got there? Let's see if this is a problem. What? Oh, let's see what the problem is. bunch of fucking free copies of garbage. My whole